Welcome to Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker, Texas Ranger podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. This is a special mini-sode that we want to get out ahead of our next full-length podcast. I had the pleasure of going to the Nashville Comicon. Evan and Bob are in Massachusetts, so it wasn't as easy for them to call an audible to go out to this, but we want to recap it here. And I'm going to hit play on our conversation. Okay, so last week, John Beck, who plays mandolin in the Tennessee Warblers, texted me that Chuck Norris was going to be in Nashville for the Nashville Comicon. And, you know, my initial reaction was, I don't want to get close to this guy. You know, we poke the bear a lot on this podcast, you know?
It's true.
I don't want to get into proximity of Chuck Norris. He might take us out.
Actually, we've seen in the one episode where we've seen Walker fight a bear, he has lost. And he's needed the bear's help to survive that episode. Mm-hmm. So, bear trumps Walker at this point. It's 1-0 bear.
Chuck Norris is the proverbial bear I'm poking here, Evan. So that doesn't hold water in this
I guess
scenario.
In Forest Warrior, he does turn into a bear.
There we go. Yeah. Right. So he literally can transform into a bear, and we've been poking him on this podcast, all in good fun, I might add. You know, obviously we love Chuck Norris, we love Walker, Texas Ranger, but, you know, we don't know how we're perceived in the Norris camp. And so I was a little hesitant to, you know, say go to Nashville Comicon.
Just for clarification, I think we're considering Walker, Texas Ranger to be a character played by Chuck Norris, but the character in Forest Warrior is Chuck Norris. We're in agreement there?
Yeah, the shape-shifting character is actually Chuck Norris. That wasn't, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
okay.
That's what you're talking
so
about.
Yeah, he's
right.
Pretty scary. Yeah,
all right.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's, and yeah, also black belt. But we were playing a gig as the Tennessee Warblers this week, and the Walker, Texas Ranger theme song that you hear on this podcast is the intro. That's the Tennessee Warblers. When we recorded our record, we did a version of that too, because even when Bob and I played in college, we would end our sets with the Walker, Texas Ranger theme song. And so that just carried over to when I came to Nashville, and we had the Bluegrass Band, and we used to do that a good amount. And so when we were recording, we recorded the theme song, and then hence he and I both know it. So we were like, dude, I think we need to go to, you know, we need to kiss the ring, or try to, and attempt to sing the Walker, Texas Ranger theme song to the man himself. I've never really gone to a Comic-Con or anything like this, but we had to do it.
So you played the Walker theme song?
I didn't say I did or did not what we did do. I'm about to pull up some pics from our experience here. Have you guys ever gone to a Comic-Con or anything like that?
Believe it or not, no.
I have not, although I assume he's at the Comic-Con because there was a comic book made of Chuck Norris Karate Commandos, right? So,
no, he was there.
A deep cut.
From his 4-issue run for the cartoon he had in the 80s was not the reason he was there. But, dude, on their website, dude, he was the marquee guest.
I was going to say, it looks like he's the main attraction.
Yeah.
Not promoting anything, just being there
showing
as
up.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just showing up. So John and I got there right when the thing opened, and there was already a line to get into this Comic-Con, and there were all these people dressed up. This is us waiting in line. Some guy snapped a picture of us with a Playboy bunny in the background.
Oh, yeah.
That's not photoshopped in?
No, that's actually AI.
Was she there for the Comic-Con or just hanging out?
It's unclear. She is standing to the side over there.
It's unclear.
But I think, yeah. Anyway, so we were waiting in line there. They had a bunch of like fan vehicles. Like this is a
What's
Kia
the Nashville
Soul.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, the Tennessee Ghostbusters.
Right.
Isn't that the Gerbil Mobile though? Is that the same kind?
That is. It's a Kia Soul made into the Ecto 1. You know, they had that parked out front.
I like the license plate though. Yeah.
That's proof that a Kia Soul cannot be made to look cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think that looks pretty badass to me, but
The Mystery Machine. Nice.
Yep. They had that. And this was the line for Chuck Norris. There was it was the longest line. They had like a convention hall, people with booths around them and lines to see the celebrities and stuff like that.
It's really just a nerd convention, right? Is that what Comic-Cons are?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Some of the other guests, there was one of the Munsters was there, the kid, Eddie Munster.
He's like the only one that's still alive.
And Sergeant Slaughter was there.
Wow.
That's
All
pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah. So, but needless to say, Chuck Norris was top of the heap.
Look at the incredible use of cargo shorts in that photo.
Oh, this guy's got.
He's packing it in.
Yeah, and for listeners, this is a photo of us waiting in line to see Chuck Norris, which was long, and they had the floor marked off with tape, and it was like John and I both brought our guitar and mandolin in, and we weren't sure if they're going to let us get in with them, but was no problem whatsoever. And we were just kind of like standing in line, jamming on the Walker, Texas Ranger theme song. And it was good because we actually like ran into a bunch of Chuck Norris fans. When we first got there, we got in this line and there was this older couple there, and they were like, "Oh, is this the line, to see Chuck Norris?" And they're like, "Yeah." So we're hanging out there, and I was like, "Do you know the words to the Walker, Texas Ranger theme song?" And the guy's like, I don't. So we were told him he had to go to the back of the line.
Or you could have just said, by the end of your wait in this line, you will.
Right. And then I was like, okay, well, what's your favorite Chuck Norris movie? He goes, "Oh, I can't really name one."
Back of the line.
And I was like, dude. Yeah.
This is like when you see a little kid wearing a Nirvana shirt and you go, "What's your favorite Nirvana song?" They go, "I don't know." And you go, "Poser."
Yeah. I think my mom bought it for me.
Yeah. They sell it at Walmart.
But anyway, we're standing there and the line's not moving very fast. And there's another guy in line with us. And he goes, "Oh, guys, I think I'm in the wrong line." And we're like, "What?" He's like, "This is the VIP line." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, we are not VIP." So we had to go into another line and start over again after 15 minutes. That's where it got fun because we got to meet people who were actual Chuck Norris fans, not just online because you had a VIP wristband. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get the real salt of the earth people.
Exactly. The kind of people that have cargo shorts and extra bottles of well, it's not Chuck Norris water in this guy's pocket, is it, guys?
It is not C-Force.
Yeah.
It is not.
This looks like Evian.
Exactly. But
I think it's Aquafina, isn't it? I don't know.
the guy's hair here, though, looks like Chuck Norris's cut, does it not?
Yeah, it's
So admirable.
It's prime.
mullet
Yeah.
adjacent, I think. It's close to a mullet.
Yeah. Some of the people we met in line was a younger kid who just finished binging all 200 episodes on Peacock. He said the Chairman Saga was his favorite.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, I don't know. The first episode was amazing, but the rest of it was kind of trash, dude. And I got into it with him, and he didn't push back. But
Well, I mean, you got to think, if you're going through all of those episodes, you're just longing for some sort of continuity. So, like, that would give you at least a little bit of a foothold into reality for at least, what was it, 3 episodes?
It was 3.
4 episodes?
I want to say 3.
Yeah.
Could've been 4,
So,
but-
for like 2 hours, you can feel like you have a home base, and then you're back on to the next problem.
But shout out to him. He was cool. We were hanging out in line there. There was another guy who took some video of us and shared it on Instagram. Shout out to Dr. Greg Shaw. He was super cool. We hung out with him there. And he, I guess, is a veterinarian and saxophone player here in Nashville. He hooked us up with some videos of us jamming in line and stuff. And he was just a cool dude. Now, get this. There was this guy there with like an HD camera and a shotgun mic on top. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And we got to talking to him, and they do like a YouTube video series on like Elvis locations. They go and scout out old venues he played or locations that are pertinent to his life, and they have like a whole YouTube series on this. So I'm talking to him, I'm like, what is the connection here with Chuck Norris? But, Elvis did karate, and apparently Chuck Norris trained Priscilla Presley.
Okay.
That sounds familiar. I think we heard that.
Yeah. So they were there for that, but they're also, the guy Trey was a huge Chuck Norris fan. He had a picture of him with Chuck that he was going to get signed. But when I told him about what we were doing in Roundhouse Roulette, he's like, "Oh, I've heard of you guys."
No,
so I was like,
he's just being
well,
nice.
he probably was lying.
Yeah,
because he did say, "Oh, I think I've seen you on YouTube," and I'm like, "Well, we aren't really on YouTube, but regardless,
yeah, it's still nice.
We got to up our content creator game.
We do. We got to get on that YouTube." But he was super cool, and he was taking videos of us there in line too and whatnot. I didn't see a ton of stuff that people were getting signed over there, but this lady had a ridiculous Firewalker promo poster that was like 3D.
Oh, wow.
It like protrudes out.
That is great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an all-star piece of memorabilia right there.
Oh, yeah. I thought you guys would appreciate it. Can you describe that to folks here on the podcast, Evan?
Yeah, so it's a Firewalker poster. It's like trying to channel its best Indiana Jones movie poster vibe.
Right.
There's like a tomb in the background with skulls and stuff. And then Chuck Norris is on the left holding his gun. And does he have a cigar?
Yeah, it's a cigar.
Yeah, it looks like a cigar in his mouth. And then co-star Louis Gossett Jr. is holding a treasure map of some sort. Yeah, we'll watch Firewalker pretty soon, I think, and do a mini-sode on that.
We definitely have to do that.
It's a fun romp.
I was showing that poster to my buddy Nate, and he's like, "Dude, Chuck's face looks like distorted, man."
Hey, he doesn't look great.
He's like, "Oh no, it's because he has a cigar in his mouth. You kind of can't tell. Once you know that, it looks badass."
Kind of reminds me of like the Baseball Hall of Fame plaques too.
Yeah,
that
a little bit. I would never be able to pick out who this is if the name weren't on the plaque. Fortunately, Chuck Norris's name is written above him, so we're good.
All right. Well, so you guys see the lines on the floor they had there?
Yeah, it seems pretty easy to break the rules there.
You don't want to mess with Chuck Norris fans, man. So they had you routed for this paint tape on the ground. We had to hold our instruments like this, vertical, in order to get through sometimes. There was probably about 10 lanes of this stuff we had to get through. Every time we rounded the corner, we'd play the Walker song. And then we'd wait till we make it to the next one. And we got more and more people to sing along with us as we got closer and closer to Chuck.
Did you have a QR code like printed out that you were having people scan for our podcast in this?
Oh, I was handing out stickers.
Okay.
His wife, Gina, was there. And his son, Dakota, was there. Pretty much once we got up to the front row, John and I were just vamping the chords, and he was soloing over it until we made it to the far right the last time, and then finished the song, whatever. And everyone's like, "Man, you got to sing that for Chuck, man. You got to sing that for Chuck." And it's like, well, that's the idea. That's what we want to do.
That's why we came here.
We're like, well, yeah, cool. Let's do it. So when we finally got up to them, we were talking with his wife, and she's like, "You know the story about that song, right?" And I'm like, "Well, not really." I think it was one of the guys who actually guested on Walker, one of the country musicians. It might be Tracy Lawrence. She said, he wanted Tracy Lawrence to sing it, but the studio, I don't know if they didn't want to pay Tracy Lawrence to do it or whatever. We're just like, "No, you do it, Chuck." And of course, they went to the studio, and it was kind of a disaster. So they just had him rap the lyrics, is the way she phrased it.
Nice.
That's kind of how it came to be.
Nice. Getting some sweet intel.
And then they were like, "You know what? You guys can cut the two people in front of you. You guys have them cut." I was like, "Dude, we could have cut like the whole time, but then we wouldn't have met all those cool people." So it took us about like an hour and a half to get up there. And dude, I literally sang the Walker Texas Ranger theme song while staring into Chuck Norris's eyes.
Weird.
And you didn't burst into flames?
Yeah.
Dude, that's what happened. And the guys from the Elvis podcast captured everything in HD video and sent it to us. And I'm pulling this up now. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
The cop back.
Eyes of a ranger are When you're rolling Texas, look behind you, 'cause that's where the Rangers gotta be. Wow, that's great. Incredible. Yeah. You guys are great. Oh, no, thank you, man. Yeah, you're great.
Unbelievable.
Dude, Chuck Norris hugged my guitar. So
You kissed the ring. Did you kiss the ring?
Dude, well, that's what I was saying. That's why we had to go here and kiss the ring, you know, and play. You know, Chuck Norris technically is my favorite musician. You know, I got to sing the song to him.
Yeah, wow. Man. Think about it. That's like playing a guitar solo for, I don't know, Jimi Hendrix or something. You know, that's wild.
Yeah. So, needless to say, it was ridiculous, and we actually got some pictures with him here. Let me see if he's.
You got a record deal on the spot.
This is the new trio I'm working on.
Yeah, Roundhouse Records.
Yep. So we got John and I got our picture with Chuck, and yeah, kind of working on a new musical trio. But I had to get this shot here too.
Nice.
And let the record show that Chuck Norris has me in his patented sleeper hold.
Yeah.
and I'm brandishing a Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker Texas Ranger.
You are
t-shirt.
branded big time.
So were you able to pimp the podcast to him a little bit and kind of explain what we do here?
Yeah. Well, so my worry was that they would have known about the podcast and they would be like, "Oh man, you know, they don't find it funny or entertaining." You know, yeah, we make fun of the show, but obviously we love it and we've spent so much time digging into it, and it's awesome. The Walker Texas Ranger is awesome, not necessarily Roundhouse Roulette. But I said, you know what? I'm going to tempt fate. I'm going to say, hey, Chuck, you could take me out now. He had me in a sleeper hold. We know those things. If he had held that for like an extra millisecond, I would have been out cold.
They've been out like for at least the entire episode.
So after all that happened, I also wanted to let them know about the podcast, but I wanted to bring like a gift or something for them just as a thank you for Walker Texas Ranger. And I was thinking, you know what? I should give him an original piece of art that our Walker Strader Adam Lortzen did for the podcast. He sent me all the original ink drawings that he did for what became the Walker Strations for the first 50 episodes of the podcast here or so.
Nice.
So I got one of those framed, and I chose the Lone Wolf McClade one here. I've got it pictured here because it looked pretty badass. Mm-hmm. Him holding the Uzi and it being his first role as a Texas Ranger. I thought it would be appropriate. So I gifted that. And on the back, I wrote a little message, but I was also able to kind of convey it in person to him and his son, Dakota, thanking him for the countless hours of entertainment and, you know, just bringing us together to parse every car chase, explosion, and roundhouse kick. And just send him the love from the podcast and give credit to the Walker Strader, our buddy Adam Lortzen, as well. And so when I was handing that off to Chuck and Dakota's like, "Oh, we'll definitely put this in his trophy room. You know, he has one of those."
Of course he does.
So I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh man, all right. So Adam's art is going to be in Chuck Norris's trophy room. So
that's pretty epic.
Amazing.
I also passed off 2 Roundhouse Roulette t-shirts to them and stickers. And Dakota was like, "Oh, I've heard of you guys."
Mm-hmm.
So I came clean that who I was. If they had any animosity, they could have taken me out then. You know, we've made contact with the Norris camp, and we just say, we come in peace. Thank you for this awesome show. And they were super kind, and Chuck was radiating positive energy, and so was his whole family over there. And it was just like, it was ridiculous.
A touching experience.
It was. And then after we did that, because John and I were like, we're heading for Chuck first, because I don't know how those things work, if they take breaks or whatever. So we went to go try to sing for Chuck first. And then we walked around and we ran into the Tennessee Ghostbusters, got a shot with them. They are pretty much like a group of people who cosplay as Ghostbusters, all have their own uniforms, and they go out to different events and whatnot. And they actually knew our buddy Kevin James, who's a filmmaker and friends with one of our good buddies, Ryan Murphy, because he did this YouTube fan film of Ghostbusters called Spilled Milk, which is actually them as the New Hampshire Ghostbusters, believe it or not. And it's pretty good. You should check it out if you haven't checked it out on YouTube. But apparently all the Ghostbuster cosplay people know everybody, you know?
It's a tight-knit community.
I could imagine.
This group, though, the Tennessee Ghostbusters, when the latest Ghostbusters movie came out, they got invited to the premiere in New York, and they had a video of them driving that Kia Soul out of the firehouse, the actual Ghostbuster firehouse. So I was talking to the guy about that. Just ridiculous, but super cool guys.
So how many new listeners did the podcast get, and how many new listeners did the Warblers get? That's going to be the question.
That remains to be seen. And I will say, I just got the Walker Texas Ranger theme song back from mastering, and that sucker is going up on Spotify. So Tennessee Warblers version of the Walker Texas Ranger theme will be on Spotify by the time this podcast drops. If you are interested in checking it out.
You're supposed to be promoting the podcast, not your own band.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Dude, it's all about cross-pollination, bro.
I don't know.
Friend of podcast, Mondo, from the Talented Slackers podcast, he saw Chuck Norris in, I guess he had like an event in Dallas like this. And so he got his picture with Chuck Norris, and he said that he was super nice and that we should go see him. And I mean, he's one of the reasons that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid. John and I are going to go kiss the ring, you know?
And kiss it you did. Well, I'm real proud of you, bud. Good work.
That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, a photo of you getting headlocked by Chuck Norris that's up there.
The fact that we sang the theme song to the man himself is something, but then the fact that someone captured it in HD video for us, dude, come on now.
Yeah.
It's fate right there.
This Norris community is awesome. And we want to give a shout out to Trey Miller, who hosts the Globetrotting with Trey on YouTube, does a lot of awesome videos on Elvis, but he also has a great recap of meeting Chuck Norris at Nashville Comicon that he uses us playing the theme song as his intro and outro. And he tacked on this awesome explosion when we finished the song at the end of his video. So it's like, dun, dun, bow down. And it's like a video of Chuck Norris walking through the woods with an explosion behind him. It's epic.
Nice.
So shout out to him. And our buddy, Dr. Greg Shaw, sent us some awesome footage too that we'll get out there. Thank you guys. And thank you, Norris Camp, for just being good sports about everything here.
Not killing you when they first saw you, because that could have happened.
Yeah, it's, you know, that's what I said.
What if you become an old friend?
I don't want to be an old friend. I don't want to be an old friend.
No. Now, we never want to consider Chuck Norris a friend of the podcast, because that will be our demise.
Yeah. Eventually. Not right away. Once you're an old friend, though, that's when you're in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're a new friend, you're still good. But old friend, yeah.
Anyway, just ridiculous. So we just wanted to recap the experience here. The Roundhouse Roulette has made contact with the man himself, Chuck Norris, and we're just waiting for the restraining order to come in the mail.
Does that mean we're done, though? I think we can probably wrap up the podcast, all right?
Oh, do you guys want to do that? We can stop it now.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, there it is. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back to you soon with a full-length podcast recapping another bone-crushing episode of Walker Texas Ranger. So please stay tuned for that. If you feel so inclined, follow us on the socials. Reach out to us. We want to hear from you. And if you dig the podcast, the best way to help us would be leave a review on iTunes. Good or bad, we want to hear it. Troll us, please. Thanks for hanging with us. And may the eyes of the Ranger be upon you.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the Ranger's gonna be.